Welcome to Midnight Whispers. Tonight, you'll hear the chilling true story of a woman who spent weeks running from a killer, only to uncover a truth far darker than she ever imagined. I had been living days filled with a kind of fear that wrapped around my chest like a chain, pulling tighter every time I tried to convince myself that I was safe. Because deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I could feel eyes on me wherever I went, and no matter how fast I walked or how crowded the street was, that cold feeling of being watched never left me. It followed me into the grocery store, into my car, even into my own bed, where the silence was louder than any scream. I told my friends someone was following me, but they laughed, said I was paranoid, said I should stop watching crime shows late at night. But I knew what I felt. I knew when a person's breathing changes because of fear, and mine never went back to normal. Every footstep behind me sounded like his. Every door creak made me flinch. Every passing car made my heart race. I stopped answering my phone. I stopped opening the blinds. I even taped over the peephole in my front door because I couldn't stand the thought of him standing out there watching me, waiting for the right moment. I started sleeping with the lights on, but it didn't help. It only made the room look smaller, the walls closer, and my thoughts louder. I tried changing my routine, taking different routes, buying a new phone, even moving to a new apartment across town. But the feeling followed, like it was glued to my skin. And when I walked down the street at night, I could almost hear his footsteps matching mine, soft but steady, one after the other, always one step behind, always reminding me that he was there. And the worst part was that no one believed me, not my friends, not the police, not even my own reflection, when I tried to tell myself it would be okay. Because it wasn't. It never was. And somewhere in my mind, I knew that this wasn't just fear anymore. It was something deeper, something I couldn't understand, something that lived inside me. For weeks, I barely ate, barely slept. I jumped at every sound, and I'd wake up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. And I started seeing things out of the corner of my eye. Maybe shadows, maybe figures, maybe my imagination. But I could have sworn I saw him, the same man, tall, dark jacket, standing across the street under the flickering light, watching, waiting. But every time I blinked, he was gone, like smoke in the air. I called the police once, told them there was a man outside my window. They came, they looked, but there was no one. They said maybe it was stress, maybe it was exhaustion. They didn't understand. I wasn't tired, I was terrified, and no amount of logic could stop my hands from shaking every time I turned off the lights. I started leaving the TV on, not to watch it, but to drown out the silence that carried his breath, the silence that made my own heartbeat sound like footsteps. Sometimes I'd find things moved around my house, a chair pulled out, a drawer open, and I'd think maybe he got in. maybe he's been inside all along. But then I'd convince myself that I was imagining things, because the alternative, that someone had actually been inside, was too unbearable to believe. I began writing notes to myself just to keep track of what I did during the day, because I'd wake up and find things done that I didn't remember doing. Laundry washed, dishes cleaned, lights turned off when I was sure I left them on. And I told myself it was just fatigue, just stress. But deep down, I felt something was breaking inside me, like a crack in my mind that kept getting wider every night. And I couldn't stop it. I just couldn't. It all came crashing down that night. The night everything finally made sense. Or maybe it stopped making sense. I'm not even sure anymore. I had been sitting in my living room, hugging my knees, staring at the window, when I heard a soft thud coming from the closet. My breath caught. My entire body froze. And I thought, this is it. He's here. He finally got inside. I grabbed a kitchen knife and slowly approached, my hands trembling so badly I could barely keep hold of it. My mind screaming at me to run, but my legs refusing to move. And when I opened the closet door, I didn't find him. I found something worse. I found a knife. Not the one in my hand, but another one inside a small box, its blade dull, but stained dark red, like dried blood. And next to it were my old clothes, the ones I thought I'd thrown away weeks ago, folded neatly in a black garbage bag, with something that looked like dirt, or maybe dried mud. On the sleeves, I dropped the knife, fell to my knees, staring at it like it wasn't real, like it was a nightmare I'd wake up from any second. But the smell, the metallic smell of old blood, made it all too real. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I just sat there shaking, trying to piece together what I was looking at, trying to understand why it was in my closet. And then the memories started bleeding through, like cracks in a dam. Flashes of a night I had tried so hard to forget. A fight, shouting, the sound of something breaking, someone falling, and then silence, so much silence. I remember washing my hands, scrubbing them until my skin burned. I remember throwing something in a bag. I remember driving, but not knowing where. I remember crying so hard I couldn't see. And then nothing, just blackness, days missing, time lost, like someone had hit erase on my mind. I had convinced myself that I was being hunted, because it was easier to believe there was a monster out there than to admit the monster lived inside me. I told myself he existed so I could stay innocent in my own story, so I wouldn't have to face what I'd done. Because what kind of person could live knowing they took someone's life and didn't even remember it? I started shaking uncontrollably, the knife still lying there in front of me like evidence of a crime I had committed but refused to see. I wanted to call the police, confess, tell them everything. But how could I when I didn't even remember it all? How could I prove it when I wasn't sure what was real anymore? My mind was split in two, one part screaming that I was innocent, the other whispering that I knew exactly what I'd done. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't running from a killer. I was running from my own guilt, my own memory, my own mind. For days after that night, I barely moved. I sat in that room replaying every sound, every memory, trying to make sense of it all. And the more I tried, the more fragments came back, flashes of blood, flashes of his face, flashes of the moment everything went wrong. And each time I saw it, I felt a wave of nausea and regret that nearly suffocated me. I wanted to believe it was an accident, that I had been defending myself, that maybe I didn't mean to do it, but deep down, I knew I had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. And the part of me that tried to bury it, to erase it, had built this whole fantasy, this idea of being chased, just to protect what was left of my sanity. I had become my own stalker, my own tormentor, my own punishment. And that realization was worse than any prison, because now every sound, every reflection, every dark corner didn't remind me of him. It reminded me of me, the person who took a life and ran from it. And no matter how far I go, there's no escaping that truth. It's been months now, and I still wake up at night, drenched in cold sweat, convinced someone's in the room. But then I remember, there's no one, there never was. It's just me, alone with the weight of what I did. I haven't told anyone. Not the police, not my family, not even a therapist, because I can't bring myself to say it out loud. I can't hear those words coming from my own mouth, because once I do, it becomes real again, and I don't know if I can live with that. So I sit here, recording this, telling my story to whoever's listening. Maybe as a confession, maybe as a warning, maybe because part of me still hopes it'll make sense. But it doesn't. It never will, because when I look back, I realize I didn't just kill someone that night. I killed a part of myself too, and the worst part is, I can't remember which came first. The fear or the guilt, the chasing or the running. All I know now is that I wasn't the victim, and I wasn't the hero either. I was both, and neither. I was the hunter and the hunted, and the person I feared the most wasn't out there in the dark. She was right here, inside me, all along.